Hi, I'm Beena Patel, a physician associate turned spiritual mentor, quantum healer, women's coach, and speaker. Welcome to The Voice That Sees. This podcast is an intimate dialogue on topics ranging from science and spirituality to alternative forms of healing, vulnerable storytelling, the esoteric ancient wisdom, the power of individual transformation, and how it impacts the collective evolution of humanity. Each episode, you will learn how to evolve by shifting your mindset and ways of being, express your vulnerability to heal and transform, and channel your emotions into self-expression, creating a greater impact in the world. Let's continue your journey together. Welcome back to another episode of The Voice That Sees. Today, I'm really excited to share about a topic that has been something really present on my heart and also something that I've been working through quite a bit, especially since this transition to Costa Rica and navigating the changes between traveling back and forth between here, New York, and I have some really beautiful revelations that I've discovered, and I think these insights will be helpful for other people on their journey as well. And so today's topic is about caregivers. And this could be someone who is a caregiver for someone who is going through a diagnosis, someone who is a caregiver for their children, such as a mother who's just naturally very nurturing. And so any type of role that involves nurturing and providing care for another person. So a lot of times what happens with caregivers is that because they're so naturally loving and nurturing, often what they may find is that they attract a lot of people who are in need, whether it's in need of love, of financial security, of some type of support on their journey, maybe even through a diagnosis. And so a lot of people who are therapists, counselors, nurses, people in the healthcare field, a lot of times these are people who are generally nurturing, and that's why they were called to their field, because they have these innate gifts that they're able to channel so beautifully into their profession. And what I've found in my personal journey is that it's really beautiful to be able to share these gifts with others and to be empathic and really supportive and provide that counseling and wisdom that so many people come to us for, to seek out their own clarification and understanding of what they're experiencing on their journey in that current phase, and helping people move through different life transitions with a sense of comfort and peace that so many of us who are naturally nurturing bring. And it's very important that we know it is safe to have healthy boundaries. This has been something that I've learned over and over again. And what I have recently moved through, and I want to share from a place of embodiment, is that it is safe for caregivers to say no without guilt. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a touchy subject. However, I feel that it has to be spoken about, and from a place of non-judgment also. So for many people who are caregivers and in these supportive roles for people with, for example, addiction, it can be very taxing on one's mental health. And a lot of times there's this line between what is healthy caregiving versus where do you retract your energy and really encourage this person to receive professional support, which is what may be most beneficial for them. And something I have learned with having many people in my life who either had something that they were coming to me for counseling. Usually, most of the time, it's been breakup issues or something related to relationships. However, I've also had my fair share of whether it was clients or patients. I used to work in an elderly nursing home, and I've worked in many different settings where I've also provided care for people with different types of ailments, including addiction. And so I know that it can be very challenging for the people in their world, because a lot of times when people are moving through addiction and some of these bigger issues when it comes to mental health, there's a lot of emotions that come up. It isn't just what's happening in the mind and the mental health. That's important too. And it also brings up a lot of emotions, both in the person navigating their journey, their own personal journey, as well as for the people who are providing care. And without having those boundaries and understanding, okay, where is it safe for me to give because this is really going to help you versus actually I'm trying to take this on as my own burden when that was never supposed to be my role in the first place. And so if we're not attuned to that understanding, if we don't really understand when we might be meddling in a person's journey, then we're not actually helping them. And what happens is that as a caregiver, we become resentful and angry and pissed off, and we get overwhelmed, and then we can't hold space for any other beautiful thing that's trying to come into our field. It's as though other things might be trying to come in, but it just feels as if it's too much, and we say no and self-sabotage. And so something that I've been navigating for over 6 months, it's been ever since I've moved to Costa Rica, something that has come up a lot is how can I learn to pause, take some time to feel into my body and actually feel into what feels right when someone asks me to spend time with them. There's been a lot of new connections and new opportunities, and I'm grateful for it all. And yet I've definitely learned that not everyone is good for me and my well-being. And so I've had to take ownership of that and ask myself, why am I allowing certain people into my field, especially the energy of takers and, for lack of a better word, people who really display some narcissistic traits, which I've definitely seen throughout my life. And I know why they come to me. I know why they're drawn to me. They're drawn to the light. And I know that I naturally embody a sense of peace and love. And while it's beautiful that I can share this gift with the world, I've found that when I don't hold space for myself first and check in, then I quickly get into these relationships and friendships, these weird dynamics, which are very one-sided, imbalanced, and leave me feeling depleted and drained. And I know I'm not the only one who has gone through something like this. So the message that is coming through is that boundaries are super important. They teach people how we desire and deserve to be treated. They teach people that our no is a no, and it's sacred, and it deserves to be respected. What you'll also find is that when you start saying no to the bullshit, you actually create a lot of space for healthier connections to come into your life. I'm talking about people who show up for you the way that you show up for them. People who honor the flow of healthy giving and receiving. So it's no longer this dynamic of give and take. That's not what a relationship is about. Healthy, loving relationships are about a healthy balance of giving and receiving. It feels like a flow. So you're not actually depleted in your giving. You want to give, you want to serve, and you're actually allowing yourself to receive it as well. And I've also found that I've had a lot of beautiful opportunities come in that were a little bit of a higher caliber than I would have allowed myself to reach for before. And what I attribute this to is that my energy field has been purified of all the parasitic energies that I was leaking into before, where I was allowing my energy to go into people who were just draining and really depleting for themselves too. And I try to say this without judgment. However, I just know other caregivers need to hear this. Sometimes the best thing we can do is just let some people go. Let that one land. Sometimes the best thing we can do for both ourselves and another person on their own journey is let them go. People have their own karmic lessons to learn. Does this mean that if you see someone really about to trip up, that you just lean back and not try to help out? No, it means you use your intuition, engage, and really try to grasp a deeper understanding of the situation, asking yourself, if you providing support, counseling, advice to this person in this stage of their lives, by you doing that, is it actually going to help them? Or have they given you enough evidence that they just keep repeating the same loops and whatever you're doing is actually not getting through to them. And in that moment, you actually have to pull your energy back and realize that you might be meddling, and that's something on you. This is said with love. It's not about self-blame. It's just about taking self-responsibility and seeing that the shadow within the caregiver, is this illusion of perfection and control, thinking that we know what's best for someone, that we might know better for them than they know for themselves. And so that idea of control and trying to manipulate situations, even if it's unconscious, doesn't work. What people will find is that usually the situation might blow up and someone might just get really annoyed at you for giving all this advice that they weren't even ready to listen to and hear. And so what's happened for me is that a lot of space has freed up. I've been able to be present with a lot of my emotions on a deeper level. And I've been eating healthier. And I just noticed that instead of eating cookies, for example, whenever I would feel lonely, it's like actually I can just be present with my emotion. And what would it look like for me to perhaps switch over to something like a tofu salad? And I'm also noticing that when I eat some of these really raw organic vegetables, I'm enjoying it so much that I start making sounds like, ooh, this tastes so good. And I just feel so much more liberated in my self-expression. And so I think a lot of times as caregivers, we're so used to caring for people that when we have free time, it's almost like we feel guilty for having that time to ourselves. And we feel that we need to reach out to someone, that we feel that we need to book up our calendar and provide care for someone. And what I've learned is that it's actually really beautiful to just be with ourselves and take this time that feels like pure liberation and freedom to meet deeper aspects of myself and to pour all that love that I'm so used to giving to people into myself and allowing myself to expand this beautiful ability to receive. Because caregivers love to give. It's almost like they only know to give. To receive can be difficult, and it's a practice. And so something I'm doing is saying thank you to people when I receive something and leaving at that. Instead of feeling like I need to give something back right away, it's like, let me allow my nervous system to feel how good it feels and how safe it feels to receive and to expand that ability to receive more and to hold more joy, freedom, peace, spaces of emptiness in the day that I can use to now create more art. And it's coming from such a wholesome place. Sometimes with the role of a caregiver, I found this a lot because I'm also part of different communities and organizations where there just naturally are a lot of people in nurturing roles, whether it's a yoga teacher, yoga therapist, doctors, nurses, physician assistants, there's so much. In a lot of these caretaking roles, I'll find that these people are usually chronically busy because they're providing care for someone, whether it's their children, their loved ones, their patients, their clients. There's constantly something. They're naturally gifted at giving, and they feel guilty for saying no. They can sometimes place the boundary, but then they go back and second guess it and feel this shame around it, as though maybe they shouldn't have said the thing. Maybe they should just go and do the thing. They can't trust someone else to do it as well as they will do it, so they'll go and do the thing. It's constant people pleasing and making sure that they're meeting the needs of everyone else. And they get lost in everyone else's energies, and it becomes this enmeshment, this entanglement. And these are not healthy relationship dynamics, because what happens is when a caregiver tips over to the point of providing care for someone more than they're able to satisfy their own needs and make sure that they are able to take care of themselves, this leads to depletion. It leads to burnout. And people might find that they are lacking vitality within themselves, that their spirit feels tired and doesn't want to wake up to life. And so if you're someone that feels like this is resonating with you and it's speaking straight to you, just know that first of all, you're not alone. And the way to come back into balance is learning to prioritize yourself first. I love to give this example to people about how as adults, we forget the basic things, the things that we would teach a child from where we are today with our adult level emotional maturity to the best that we can. What we would teach a child is so much more different than what we do for ourselves sometimes. And we can't use that as an excuse. If we want to improve our lives and truly take care of the world and help the world become a better place, we have to be self-empowered in our own incredible health and well-being, and then allow ourselves to provide for others from a state of overflow. And it's a constant daily practice. So it isn't that we fill up our cup on Monday and then just let it deplete until the end of the week and then refuel ourselves over the weekend. We have to keep filling our cup up every single day. And sometimes that art of filling up our cup and really putting ourselves first means that, yes, some relationships will have to be cut off. And we have to learn to release those parasitic energies and those energy drains and places where we just feel that it's almost like something is siphoning our life force energy. Something that I would inquire you to ask yourself is it even worth it? Because a lot of times, one of the beautiful traits that I actually see in caregivers, as well as a lot of humanitarians and philanthropists, is sometimes what can be self-sacrificial behavior. It's like you care about a cause so much, you care about your purpose so much that you're willing to do whatever it takes to see your goal to fruition, to make that positive impact in another person's life. And while a lot of the world will teach that being self-sacrificial has its place, it's true, it does. I do believe that there are some sacrifices we have to make in our lives, and it isn't something that we need to guilt ourselves or shame ourselves for. I think a lot of mothers would agree. There's sometimes things that you do for your children that you're not actually getting any equal return on, but you do it anyway because, first of all, you love doing it as a mother, and also you want to be there for your child. It just makes sense. And so I agree that there is a beautiful space for having room to allow ourselves to make these sacrifices at times. However, no one needs to teach a caregiver or a naturally nurturing person to be self-sacrificial. They already have known how to do it. What caregivers need to be taught is actually how to stop making sacrifices. And as you're giving, you're not losing. It's not being depleted. Scripture talks about this a lot, where when we give, that light is instantly refilled within us because God will give us more so that we can abundantly serve others in our mission. It will continue to flow through us. And so this message is just coming through so strongly because I feel that there's been such an imbalance in the world, in leadership, in government, in different systems, healthcare, business, politics, so much. And a lot of this has been because there's been hierarchy, there's been inequality, injustice, and these relationships are not healthy. They haven't allowed everyone to be seen, to be heard, to receive the abundance for their hard efforts and what they've put in. And so even though what I've experienced has felt personal to me, and I know that a lot of people may be feeling that this is a personal journey, you can also see how it translates into some of the bigger issues we've had in the world that we still continue to face. And so how do we move forward? How do we make positive changes and take forward strides that really help create a new world, a world that is inclusive of all, a world that is more equal towards all? And this is where I think the art of giving and receiving comes in. And something I would challenge caretakers and caregivers to really hone in on is to ask yourself, instead of feeling that you constantly need to give, which also can sometimes come from a place of low self-worth, whether it was seeing unhealthy dynamics in your childhood, maybe that you had to step up and become the caregiver, and then becoming the caregiver for everyone under the sun. It's like, can you meet these deeper aspects of yourself and then also realize that it's safe to let those patterns go? Can you allow yourself to feel loved even if you're not needed by someone? If your schedule is not booked up to the T, it's okay. You still matter. You still belong. You're still needed on this planet. And having that space and time that's freed up will probably serve the world from a better and healthier place than if you were being dragged down to the mud thinking everyone else is your responsibility, because they're not. So this illusion of control and perfectionism, it can be sneaky. Sometimes we think that when we're giving advice and we're sharing it with someone, that we just know exactly what they need to hear. And every now and then you'll hear someone say back to you, that is exactly what I need to hear. I feel like you were reading my energy, like you just knew what to say. And it's beautiful because we are intuitive, we are empathic. However, have you ever had someone who's just projected all their anger on you because you gave some unsolicited feedback, something that was uncalled for? And it's kind of fair in that case because sometimes people just need to be witnessed in what they're going through. They don't actually need advice in that moment. They just need us to be present with them. And this can free up so much of our energy that we don't actually need to quickly think about what solution will I provide? What guidance can I give? It's like, actually, no. I can just lean back and just be present with them. I can also use my intuition to say, I'm at capacity right now. I don't have any more space to hold for this. Thank you for sharing this with me. And then moving on in peace. This is possible. A lot of times with things like drama, there's this loop with humanity, this unhealthy cycle of perpetuating drama and blowing things out of proportion to get attention, to feel heard. A lot of this is based on not having our needs met as a child. And so the extreme that one would go to in seeking that attention is often an unconscious behavior. And the more we bring it to the forefront of our mind, it becomes conscious. And we are then able to break that pattern by taking different, healthier action steps. And so one of the things I have broken through recently is no longer operating from the identity of a rescuer. I used to be the girl in college that everyone would come to, even on nights out, to dish out everything that they were experiencing in their life. It's like all the stuff that should actually be taken care of by a therapist or a counselor. It was like just being dumped. And I just didn't know how to say no to people. I'm very compassionate and loving. And I've had a hard time for most of my life up until the last 2-3 years in being able to say no without looking back and questioning, oh, should I have done this differently? Should I have just gone through with it? Would it have been easier and just kept the peace if I just said yes? Things like that. And so this act of people pleasing and just wanting to keep the peace has kind of led me to agree to doing things I didn't really want to do, allowing certain relationships to extend longer, including friendships, to extend longer than they were necessary because I just really want to be there for people, even though it was draining my energy. And I felt afraid of what would happen sometimes if I said no. I was afraid. Will they turn their back on me? Will they suddenly gossip about me? All these things. And I had to realize that we're all human. We all have our human conditioning. And I just can't please everyone. Even on my best day, when I've done my best for everyone, there might still be someone who's ticked off about something, and it's because it's their own stuff. And so I've had to learn to let go of pressure and overwhelm from feeling that everyone else's drama was mine to carry. It's like, actually, no, this is your shit. And I see you in it, sending you love, and I can do this from afar. And with that distance, I've had more room to breathe. I've had more room to actually check in with my emotions and ask myself, does this next step feel in alignment for me? Will this serve me today and tomorrow? Does this make me feel proud of the person I am becoming? And moving from that place and taking different action steps that align with my values of integrity, trust, truth. Truth is really important to me. And integrity. I talk about this quite a bit. And authenticity. And it's challenging sometimes because I'm being held to a higher standard as I move through this lens. And it's also a lot more rewarding because I'm finding that what I'm attracting in now actually gives me life versus where I was even a year ago, depleting connections, continuously feeling zapped, people texting when they want to check in. It's like, oh yeah, I'm available. And constantly jumping in and just meeting people when they were ready. And this inconsistency that started to follow, even though I'm a woman of devotion and love consistency. And so I feel what's coming up for me intuitively is that for a lot of us who learn to be so nurturing, sometimes it could have happened when we had an emotionally unavailable parent or caregiver when we were growing up. And so we might have stepped up and become the caregiver for our siblings and for our friend circles and for our colleagues, and how that translates into things that happen later on in life is that no matter where we go, it's like we felt that we constantly have to give to people and provide for them. And the reality is that we don't, and we can break that cycle. I broke that cycle, and I want to share with you that even though it didn't feel easy to break, it feels liberating on the other side. And that liberation came from learning the art of saying no. When people come to me, especially women who notice that they attract in unavailable people, especially with dates and their dating life, it's like, where are you avoiding your own emotions? Where are you avoiding being present with yourself? The challenge here is to ask yourself as a caregiver, if you are a caregiver listening to this, where are you avoiding your loneliness? This could be by having a glass of wine at the end of a hard day. This could be by quickly picking up your phone and trying to engage in a conversation with someone when you're feeling a certain way. This could be eating junk food, candy, chocolate, something sweet that feels good. All these different ways of getting our own little hit of love and feeling good during those lower moments. And what I've learned and continuing to learn is that feeling lonely at any point in your journey is just part of the journey. We don't have to attach a label to it as in, oh, I feel lonely. What do I have to do right now? Why do I feel this way? And what does this mean about me? We don't have to go down that pathway. It's actually very sacred. And what you can do is you can self-soothe, put your hands around your heart, ask yourself what's coming up for you, if it feels right to do so. Sometimes it might just be that you're present with the emotion that comes up, knowing it's just a part of the journey. You can be lonely even in a relationship with people. You can be lonely at a party with tons of people around you. It's simply a part of the human experience. And as you get comfortable navigating this emotion and just being with it and present with it, it's quite freeing. And the more you allow yourself to extend those moments where you have bigger pockets of time to yourself, you have more time to think about things, you're actually freeing up space and extending that space for yourself and teaching your own body and your nervous system that's safe for you to receive more of your own presence, more of your own attention, and to call your energy back to you, which makes you sovereign and powerful over your energy field. So you're no longer rescuing everyone at the sight of someone needing help or someone texting you and you can just tell, oh, they need your help. It's like, actually pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, how would the empowered version of you move forward with this? Yes, you may want to help certain people. To other cases, you might question it and think this person just keeps going through their dramatic loop. Is it actually serving you to help this person, or do they need professional help? With other situations, it might not be so clear. It might be, this is going to take some time. I don't know what to do right now. However, I'm allowing myself to receive the guidance on how to move forward with this. And the more that we practice this and really feel into our bodies about what feels intuitively correct for us, what's in alignment with the empowered version of ourselves, what's beautiful is that we're actually teaching our community how to be self-empowered too. So you setting a beautiful boundary and owning your self-respect and how you want to be treated with more love and kindness and appreciation is actually setting a powerful example for people in your world. This is a practice. It isn't something you just learn or something that's one and done. It's a constant practice. And the invitation here is to not judge people that we're taking care of and also not blame ourselves for the way that we have shown up. It's to meet ourselves with deeper self compassion first and foremost. And as we continue to love and accept ourselves as we are, we actually clear up space and are able to hold more space for people. We're able to extend more love and compassion to our loved ones and our community. And when we do invite in these aligned relationships, we're able to feel into the beautiful, harmonious dance of giving and receiving. And it feels good. It feels good to receive so naturally, and it feels good to give abundantly. And so this is my prayer for anyone who's listening to this. If you are a caregiver, that you understand it is safe for you to prioritize your needs first. And so also be compassionate and loving towards the needs of people who are asking for your support. It is safe for you to sometimes take space to be in your energy, to take some time to maybe go on a retreat, whether it's in nature or an actual retreat, that it's safe for you to tell people, hey, I've been giving a lot here and now I need to receive. And then letting them do their part so that you can receive. And learning to say no. The clearer you are in your no, not wavering in it, you get to honor what is a sacred yes for you. And once you're a yes for you, the world is a yes for you. The connections, the opportunities, the things that start coming into you that are attracted to your energy field from that place are so much more empowering. They carry a higher vibration of success, of love, of abundance, of amazing health and well-being, and vitality and happiness and joy, that it can be felt. It's felt in your body. It's felt in your aura. And you start gaining a sense of, I love my life. I'm so excited to wake up. I'm so excited to serve. It comes from this place of wanting to serve at a higher capacity because you know that from this place of clean giving, your light is instantly replenished. And this is how some of the greatest leaders in the world, humanitarians, philanthropists, global change makers, visionaries, this is how they've been able to do big, impactful work in the world. It's by serving, and they've served at such a large capacity, and they've allowed themselves to receive support. They've allowed themselves to take some time to themselves, to rest, to be, to explore other avenues of their own journey, whether it was creating art, writing books, spending time with different organizations, doing missionary work, so many different avenues of exploration. My prayer is that you know that as a caregiver, there's so much love and empathy that naturally comes through you. And what I would invite you to do is to start by showing more of that love and compassion for yourself first. And notice little shifts within. Maybe you start to become more gentle with yourself. Maybe you are quicker to delegate certain tasks that you don't need to hold on to anymore. Maybe you're allowing yourself to receive little bits of support, little by little. Someone wanting to hold the door for you. Someone wanting to carry your groceries to your car. Letting yourself receive little bits and bits until it becomes bigger and bigger and your capacity to receive expands so that when you give, it's even more juicy. It's even more abundant and generous. And truly a powerful teaching to the world that from that place of healthy self-love and self-empowerment, self-nourishment, we can teach others to love themselves so that they don't have to be tied up to these labels, whether addiction or illness, all these different things. We remember the truth that we are all beings of divine love and light, and we all want the same things. We're all looking for love and acceptance and belonging, and to know that we matter, that we have a purpose, that we're here on this planet for a reason at this revolutionary time. And as much as we can ask to receive guidance and support on our path, which is all valuable, there are just some periods in our journey as we're ascending where I wouldn't say that we have to go through it alone, because I truly feel God is with us. The Holy Spirit is moving through us at all times. What I feel is trying to be conveyed through me right now is that giving ourselves grace to know that we have what it takes to ascend, even if it means we got to shed some patterns that no longer serve us, even if it means that we have to cut off some relationships that aren't serving us and our highest good anymore, to leave behind what may be holding us back from living out our infinite potential. And that's safe for us to do that because it's why we're here. We are here to expand beautifully. We are here to experience the richness of life. And as we take off all these labels and these constructs and identities that we have tied to ourselves, even this identity of caregiver, we just are able to breathe more deeply and feel, yes, none of that matters. None of that matters because I am a being of divine love and light. In our truest essence, we are an extension of God consciousness, of divinity. And when we remember that we have taken up human form to learn whatever lessons, to do our bigger work in the world, to enjoy this life, to love our lives, to love ourselves, to love our community and the world, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, to love all of humanity, all of Gaia, universal love. We show up from a place of empowerment, expecting best outcomes, both for ourselves and for our community. And we no longer feel this need that we have to carry the burden of everything as if it was ours, because we see people in their power, that they can rise to meet whatever they're going through and be able to transcend. Because if we can do it, why can't they? As a practice for this week, as you notice yourself feeling more compassion for yourself, I invite you to allow that compassion to naturally radiate out of you and notice the way that your world responds to you. Thank you for tuning into this episode of The Voice That Sees. God bless. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Voice That Sees. Please be sure to check out more episodes every other Tuesday on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. For additional content, you can follow me on Instagram at The Yoga Movement and YouTube at The Yoga Movement NYC. You can also check out my coaching programs and unique offers on my website at theyogamovementnyc.com to help support your individual and personal transformation. Until next time, be you and be well.